Hello, everyone. So my name is Thibault Duchemin. I'm the founder and CEO of Ava. And Ava makes group conversations between the deaf, the hard of hearing, and the hearing people always accessible. So I was born the only hearing person in a deaf family. So my father is deaf, my mother is deaf, and my sister is deaf as well. That's my father speaking sign language, which is my first language when I was born with. He presents to deaf people at the museum Le Louvre. It's a French museum, so that's also where my accent is from. But he's always been passionate about transmitting something like his passion, art, to other people who didn't have access to anything translated and transcribed or even interpreted when they would go to a museum like Le Louvre. My mother works with deaf-blind people. So every day, she makes sure that those people can live a decent life. So that's where I was born in. And one day, I was about 8 years old. My father comes to me and introduced me for the first time to what it means the accessibility. So he told me, okay, Thibault, today, this is a great and very important day. Today, we're going to fight for accessibility. So it was in France. There was a whole demonstration, like we like to do in France, to protest and ask the government to recognize sign language as a real language. Before, it was just called this kind of regional language or code, and it was not recognized at the national level. So you had a lot of things that couldn't happen because of that. So I come with him. It was fun. It was a whole day where, when you're a kid, it's like no school. You're just, with a lot of people and, screaming, signing. I never saw as many deaf people as I saw this day. And what's interesting is that 7 years later, in 2005, finally, sign language was recognized as a real language, which changed a lot of things in France. It actually kickstarted a lot of ways to create accessibility for television, phone, video interpreting, things that if you've been here in the United States, was always existing since the ADA. Actually, the ADA was made 15 years before the sign language was recognized in France. 15 years. So my parents always told me, America, it's the heaven for accessibility. This is the heaven for deaf people. People that go there, they have accessibility everywhere. That's what he told me. So when one day I came there, I found what the ADA did, which made TV accessible, which made phone accessible. But as I was walking on the campus of Berkeley and I met deaf and hard of hearing people, this is also what I found out. In a 24/7 life, every day, in all the social interaction I had, more and more I started noticing all the moments that were not accessible at all. Those progress, TV and phone, are amazing, but it's more amazing to imagine all the rest of the accessibility in the life that people are not living fully accessible. I just put examples there. You can just find, I'm sure, at least 5 that you've been in your life, and if you've been deaf or hard of hearing, maybe all of them you've been frustrated and sometimes excluded from. So that's actually the reality. The accessible part of the life is very small. There's no social accessibility, meaning that if I want to make friends who are hearing, my sister actually typically don't do that. She just stayed at home or met other deaf people, but she wouldn't go to parties where I was going because it was just too noisy, people were hearing, and it was just not her world. More than that, I traveled in India. And I'm also from France, so I have this international background of accessibility. And what happens is you see all the situations where the government doesn't even fund anything. They didn't even have this demonstration for sign language recognition. It's underfunded, and the actual percentage of accessibility is even lower, like 99.9% is inaccessible. So sure, websites, there's fights towards this, TV, phone, a lot of things, a lot of technology, a lot of people are fighting for accessibility. But the bigger picture is the social life. It's where we have actual, real conversations. When I sit down for a coffee with somebody, that's where I create this link which enables us later to be friends. So the reality that I was seeing was just that The deaf and the hearing world, I was right in between, was actually close to other people who were from the deaf world. It made an invisible ghetto. And that was frustrating for me. You know, the main problem is this idea of group conversation. When you're in one-on-one and the other person is aware of your disability, people make efforts. They try to make sure that you're being understood. They empower you by being compassionate. But when you're in a group conversation, suddenly roles shift. Suddenly people care less. It's like this. They may not notice that you haven't followed, and yourself may not want to disrupt the flow of a group conversation. Actually, following lips, so lip reading, is extremely hard. You only get 25% of what's being spoken. So deaf and hard-of-hearing people who are lip reading are ninjas. They're able to just understand from this very T9 way where you have like a lot of words and they just make sense sometimes out of it. It's crazy. The problem is, to literally have 24/7 accessibility, you would need to have a captioner, a physical person next to you all the time, or an interpreter like her all the time. Not just for presentation and very important meetings, but any time. And there's a fundamental problem to it, which is cost. It's $100 an hour. You can't pay a coffee to a friend $105. You need to pay it $6. So accessibility needs to decrease by 100x. So how do we do this? That's where we started from. How can we make a 24/7 affordable accessibility by starting from the fundamentals of it, and disrupt the way it costs? So my two other co-founders are deaf and hearing, and I'm a coda. And my deaf co-founder doesn't sign at all. He only communicates through writing. So we had this magical encounter where we were all from different perspectives, and we started looking for a solution that would change the way accessibility is done today. Here's the thing. There's 1.7 billion smartphones today. So everybody, almost everybody, and in the future it will be everybody, has this in their pocket. And on this, there's a microphone. That's the first component. The second component is when you have somebody who is deaf and hard of hearing in a conversation with hearing people, this person is not equal to the hearing person. He's always trying to catch up or play in the field of hearing. Whereas for deaf and hard of hearing person, usually both of them can see properly. So this is the channel that we think should be the channel of equality. So that's why we created Ava. It's a way to connect the deaf and the hearing world. And how does it look like? It's a mobile app that you can download on your Android or iOS today, which connects everybody in a conversation and transcribe what the hearing people are saying back to a text that deaf and hard of hearing people can read. Usually the way they work with this is they read lips, and when they're lost, they use Ava as a fallback. And some people, sometimes it's too fast, they can't even lip read, so instead of secluding themselves from the conversation, they can stay at the table, they can participate, they can type, and you can actually voice what they want to say for them. But a lot of people are also hard of hearing and don't know sign language, and they're in the same situations. Think about your grandmother, grandfathers. Sometimes they're in the end of the table at a Thanksgiving dinner. They don't even want to say that they don't understand anything. But that's the reality today that we don't talk about. 400 million people, 5% of the world population, has this problem, group conversations. And that's how we solve it. So Ava means audio-visual accessibility. How do you use it? In one-on-ones, you just launch Ava. We made it and we designed it so it's the fastest, effortless possible way to have a captioned conversation. When you're in a group, you invite your friends by just one tap, and it makes low effort on the hearing people so they don't have any argument to tell you that, for example, they don't want to download an app or they don't want to use data or battery. We made and we still focus heavily on making the experience super simple for you. This way, the whole world can become Ava accessible. So the beginning, I was talking about making it affordable. That's now possible. So for 5 hours per month, everybody will be able to have Ava and use it up to 5 hours to see if it fits their need. If they're deaf or hard of hearing people and they use it more than 5 hours a month, which is very likely, then it's just $1 a day. So from $100 an hour to $1 a day, I'm now able to make this coffee meeting, this lunch break with colleagues and coworkers. So we launched a program 3 months ago called the Ava Pioneer Program. Why Pioneer? Because each single one of our users is going in the wild, is exploring new situations. They haven't even know how to deal with those situations sometimes. And that's why we call them pioneers. They're the boldest ones. We want to support them. We want to empower them so that in every situation of their social life, at the doctor office, at the lunch, in a conference, in a tech presentation, they have this solution that can provide them accessibility 24/7. You can download it. It's on the App Store and the Play Store. You just fill an application, and we'll send you an invite on ava.me. So it's interesting because I started this fight of accessibility when I was 8 years old, and it's a fight that everybody needs to be aware of because it's going to be a long journey. We're not there yet, but we need every single one of you to become a pioneer, to really propose, facilitate, empower the people that are coming to you that need accessibility and actually propose them even before they even know about this solution. Everybody needs to be this advocate. So that's what Ava is. And that's what we will keep doing, helping the world communicate beyond any barrier. Thank you.